Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear learners. Welcome to English Grade 7 video lecture series. I'm your instructor Zia Hamid. I hope, my dear learners, that you are doing well. Students, today we are going to begin our lecture number 1 of Unit 10, A Plastic Ocean. It's a poem about being a very good citizen and a participatory citizen, and also about the effects of littering, especially in the ocean. So, I hope that you have read this. Now, in the grammar and vocabulary part, we have our lecture number 1, specifically on grammar, where we will be talking about simple past tense. And now, let's talk about the SLO. It is about recognizing the form, various functions, and use of all forms of perfect tense. And it can be seen in past and present and also in the future tense. But we are focusing on past and present tense, and we know that whether it's a present tense, past or future tense, when we want to talk about an action that is completed, we talk about the perfect tense. So now we will see the perfect tense in the past and also in present. Let's talk about the vertical linkage. This is your vertical linkage that links your SLO with the previous grade. So you can have an idea that this is something that you have or you are supposed to study in the previous class. All right. Now students, here we have two examples, two sentences from past perfect and present perfect. Number 1, they have been married for nearly 50 years. Now we know that when we are talking about perfect tense, we add have been. This is the contraction of have, and this is been. They have been married for nearly 50 years. This is a present perfect tense. And here, I had never seen such a beautiful sunset before. This is in the past tense, but here we know that this is in the perfect, this is in the past perfect tense. How? I had never seen such a beautiful sunset before. So this is in the perfect tense because the action is completed in the past. So whenever you see have been, had been, you know that these are the kind of tenses with the perfect tense. Now let's talk about present perfect tense first. We know that in present tense we have simple, present simple or present indefinite. Then we have continuous, present continuous, then present perfect, and then perfect continuous. Perfect continuous, right? We are talking about present perfect. This is used to describe actions or states that started in the past. They started in the past, but they still have connection in the present. So when we have things or actions that started in the past, but still is relevant to the present, it is still connected to present tense, then we call it present perfect tense. For example, she has traveled to several countries this year. Yes, we have the verb, the helping verb has, which says that this is in the present form. And here we have an idea that this is in the perfect form. This is present perfect. She has traveled to several countries this year. The team has won 3 consecutive matches, and this is still relevant to present. It is still true, and this is also still true and in the present. The company has experienced significant growth in the last quarter. So this is also in the present perfect tense. Now, how do we form present perfect tense? There is a formula that we need to understand and we need to memorize. Example is, I have finished my homework. We know I is our subject, have or has is the formula, and then the third form of the verb. The verb is finish. The third form of finish is finished. And then the rest of the sentence. My homework is the rest of the sentence. So subject plus has or have according to the subject, whether if it is in the singular form or in the plural form. And then the third form of the verb that we have, and finally the rest of the sentence. Look at this example. They haven't seen the movie. Now this is present perfect in the negative form. Subject plus have or has plus not, and then the third form of the verb, and then the remaining sentence. Have you visited that museum? This is in the interrogative. This is an interrogative sentence. First, for interrogative, we know for questions we add have or has at the start plus the subject, then the third form of the verb, then the rest of the sentence. So by following these structure for simple, negative and interrogative, we can see that we can form present perfect tenses, and we always have to add have in our perfect tense because the action is completed in the past, but it is still relevant today. I have finished my work means till now my work is finished. So the action of the past of finishing my work is still relevant, is still connected to this time, to this present. I hope that it is very much clear now. Now students, here is an activity. Now I would request the instructors to pause the video at this point and make the students solve this activity for present perfect tense. Alright, I hope that you have done it correctly. Now we have two blanks over here. Had visit, have visited, or had have. They have never visited a zoo. So, because we are talking about present, we know that this is the correct option. Next, the students have learned, will learn, or had learned. Have learned because we are talking about past and students are in the plural form, so we will use have over here. Next, I blank my room. Is cleaning? No, that would be in the present continuous. Will cleaned? This is wrong. Have not cleaned? Yes, this is the right option. I have not cleaned my room. It means that at this point in the present, the room is still not cleaned. So the action of the past is still relevant to the present. So I hope that you have solved the remaining activity as well. Let's talk about past perfect. I mean perfect tense of completing action but in the past. So this tense is used to talk about something that happened and finished in the past. It is not relevant now. It shows that one action was completed before another action happened. For example, we can make positive sentence, negative sentence in the past perfect, and also interrogative sentence. And we can also see the examples over here. The team had practiced for weeks before the big game. So there are two events over here. Team had practiced and before the big game. Subject plus had plus the third form of the verb. We must add had with our past perfect. So we add subject, then the past perfect helping verb had, then the third form of the verb which is practiced, and then the rest of the sentence. So we can say that the team had practiced for weeks before the big game. There are two events over here. There is a big game and the practice of the team. So the practice happened before the big game. So there are two events in the past and we need to tell which happened before which event. So that's why we use past perfect tense to show that in the past there are two events. Now which event happened after the other event or vice versa. So we need to tell that. Next example, she had never seen the ocean until last summer. First, she had never seen the ocean. Then last summer she saw it. So there are two events. So subject had plus not, because this is in the negative form. Never becomes not. Never is actually the form of not, then the third form of the verb, then the rest of the sentence. Now this is a sentence in the interrogative form. Had she finished her homework? So we know that we add had in perfect tense, in past perfect. Had comes first, then the subject, then the third form of the verb, followed by the remaining or the rest of the sentence. Had she finished her homework? So in the past, in the past perfect, you can tell about an action that happened in the past and it was completed. And you can also tell that when there were two events, which event happened before which event. So this is what we talk about in the past perfect tense. In the present perfect, we talk about an event that happened in the past, but it is still connected to the present. But in past perfect, we talk about two events and we tell which happened before the other one, or the other one maybe have happened before the first one. Now students, past perfect tense, here are some more examples. I hope that you can clearly read it from the screen. She had already left. Had, it means this is in the past perfect. We can see all these examples with the helping verb had. She had already left. They had never seen it. He had finished reading. I had forgotten my keys. We had eaten breakfast. She had lost her phone. They had traveled far. He had already called. I had completed the task. And we had visited the museum. Now, students, what is the difference between simple past and past perfect? In simple past, we just mention the event that happened in the past. But in the past perfect, we are talking about something that happened in the past, and that was and we can also tell that there are two events and which one happened in a correct order. So there is the basic difference. In past simple, you just tell about something that happened in the past, but in past perfect, you talk about which event happened after the other one. So this is the basic difference between past perfect and simple past tense. Here is an activity for you to solve. Choose the correct form of the past perfect tense verb for the following statements. Now pause the video and focus on this activity. Yes. Blank, they, another blank, their grandparents last week. So what is the correct option? 1, 2, or 3? We know that when we are talking about past perfect, we need had. So had they visited, the third form of the verb, visited their grandparents last week. Had not, he had not made any attempt to escape. I had watched that movie yesterday. They had taken the boy to the doctor. I had offered to help him. The postman had delivered the letter in the morning. So these are the correct answers. I hope that you got them right. And for the classroom activity, dear learners, you're going to talk about and work in small groups. Now, you have made small groups of 3 or 4 members each in the class. Each group has an interviewer and 1 or more interviewees. One will take the interview and the other will be giving the interviews. Students will be engaged in time travel interviews where they will take turns asking each other questions about their past and present experiences. The interviewer will ask questions using present and past perfect tense in their response. For instance, or for example, you can include questions such as, have you ever traveled to a different country? If yes, which countries have you visited? Or what are some major accomplishments you have achieved at school? After some period of time, after asking these questions in the past, perfect and present tenses, have the interviewer and interviewer switch roles. Now we are going to switch roles so that everyone has an opportunity to participate. Everyone has an opportunity to be an interviewer and also an interviewee in the next term. So this is a very interesting activity where you will be talking about your past, and if you have two events mentioned in the past, you can use the past perfect tense. All right, a simulation link is added for additional learning. If you have leisure, if you have free time, you can watch it. The worksheet is added over here, and this talks about your present perfect and past perfect tenses. For homework, you have to write 5 sentences each of present perfect and past perfect tense, and then you can get it assessed by your instructor. All these resources are available in the description of the video, dear learners. That's all about today's lecture. I hope that you will have a great time and you had great time learning about this. Now all you want to do is practice your resources. I will see you in the next video lesson. Till then, take care of yourselves and Allah Hafiz.